I'm a little daunted by this episode right now. I'm just like trying not to try too hard about understanding this movie.
Like anytime there is a new character introduced, I start to get so confused by all the names, having to remember who's who,
Yeah,
and they're
yeah,
always like these goofy old timey names. And in
yeah.
this, it's even more complex and confusing and hard to keep track of everybody.
There's so much that happens and so many scenes, and the plot is so intricate that it would take a whole day probably to like really break it down. So the first time I saw it was at the Music Box, and they were having this like 70 millimeter festival, and they were
Oh, it
playing
was
it
on
there.
70 millimeter.
Yeah,
Damn.
and I had not seen the movie, and I was like, no one wanted to come with me, so I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go by myself. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think
Yeah,
like most people would be able to pull off like half of what he's saying is a joke, half of it is like intimidation.
right. And also a lot of insecurity
Yeah.
about all those hippie scum out there. Like
Mhm.
like there's later talk about him, having therapy with his wife. His wife clearly like pushes him around at home. And then when he's eating pancakes at some Japanese place or something. He says, they're not as good as my mom's, but I come here for the respect. And so yeah, what scenes have we not covered yet that we should? I
We haven't
guess.
talked about Reese Witherspoon and her character at all yet,
Well, even
have we?
earlier, there's the Pussy Eaters special
Oh
place.
yeah, I love that
Yeah.
scene.
And that's actually very early on, so it shows that we've skipped.
Shasta's like tie, because
Right.
they're all naked on the ties, and he's looking for hers, but it's
Mm,
gone. And then later, it's that guy, Puck or whatever his name. He has it.
oh yeah, that's right. Okay, yeah. Man, this is all this is all so
It's all
foggy.
it's all resurfacing, yeah.
You know, that scene that they're invited to the party for Spotted Dick, or the band with
Yeah.
Owen Wilson, and they're
Yeah.
kind of like talking about how like they pick up on some weird atmosphere at the party, and then there's like these musicians, and then there's like neo-Nazis like in the back.
Yeah. Oh, I remember.
Yeah. Jade shows up so like randomly, I feel like,
Mhm.
throughout this whole thing after just
Well,
meeting her at the massage parlor, right?
I think that is where we are informed that the Golden Fang is a heroin distributor, right?
I
Yeah,
think so.
yeah, it's a boat that smuggles in heroin.
Right. And
Something.
they use another one, I think another one of their businesses to launder money.
Right. The massage place is a laundering front. And they built it on top. They built it on top of
Right.
the property that Mickey Wolfman owned. That
Ah.
the guy Khalil, or I forget what his name was at the beginning. He said it was his old neck of the woods, and he's like, it's gone. And so that's what led him to
Yeah.
go there. And yeah, there's all
All right,
these
see, this
all these threads.
is why I brought you on, because I don't know anyone else who could tell me tell me that. What do they talk about, Antonio, since you were the one who suggested this scene?
So I guess this is the scene that like reveals what exactly the Golden Fang is. Because Shasta sends him a postcard about that time where they did the Ouija board day, and that leads him to that spot, and now there's this big building in the shape of a fang there.
Right.
And Doc kind of puts together that these dentists, or so like it's this vertical operation of heroin, so they'll bring the heroin, deal the heroin, get people hooked, and then the heroin users' teeth like get ruined, so then they also have these
Yep.
dents.
Oh, so this is because doesn't he do a walk through the um basically the main room where they're operating, where they're
Right.
doing the operations, and he's kind of looking around, and it's really crazy. It's just really fucking crazy, mainly. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Now I remember this scene. Over. If anyone can backtrack that. If you can't, we can just go to that scene.
I think that is the scene that comes next.
That works for me.
For
Totally.
sure.
I remember it now. Yeah. Yeah, this was another one where I was definitely trailing off a bit with her monologue, and then all of a sudden they start having sex. It's like, oh shit, like that, like just like that drastic
Yeah.
change.
And it's like this mix of emotions because it's like so dark at what like she's saying and like
Yeah.
revealing, and he's even like, why are you telling me this? But you can tell it's turning him on, and then
Right.
you know
he can't take it anymore.
Yeah.
I didn't take a lot of notes, but one note I put was Josh Brolin popsicle, just because I wanted to remember that.
Like constantly.